I have the pleasure today of being joined by Akash TK, who's the Regional Manager for Pre-Sales for Australia and New Zealand at Zoho Corp, otherwise known as Zoho. Akash, great to see you. Thanks so much for making time to catch up with me today.
Absolutely, Dex. It's a pleasure catching up with you virtually today. And yeah, I look forward to meeting up with you in person as well.
Likewise. So for our audience tuned in today, just a quick recap of kind of what we're going to cover. And we're going to talk about Akash and his role, a little bit of his background of how he came to this exciting role, and then what a day in the life of the Regional Manager for Pre-Sales is for ANZ at Zoho Corp. We're also going to talk a little bit about the company, and you will all know Zoho and Zoho Corp, the brand. We probably all use it for different things like email and CRM. But we're going to talk a little bit about what the company is today and some of the offerings and capabilities and some of the latest news that Akash can share. We're then going to talk about Zoho's platinum sponsorship of BeerOps, and particularly upcoming Melbourne and Sydney events, which are October the 20th and October the 28th for Melbourne and Sydney respectively. We're going to have a little conversation about what an event like BeerOps brings to an organization like Zoho. And we're also going to get Akash's take on his advice and thoughts about how to get the most from these events leading up to and preparing for them. And we've got a bit of information about how we can keep up to date with the brand and the company, and certainly what Akash is doing professionally. Akash, just to kick us off, I wonder if you could maybe just give us a little bit of background on yourself and sort of your career path and how you came into this amazing role as regional manager for pre-sales for the Australian New Zealand market. And then we'll maybe look at what a day in the life of a regional manager of pre-sales is like at Zoho.
Sure. Yeah, would be happy to share some insights along those lines. So by the way, this is my first company. So straight after my university, I joined Zoho as a solutions consultant. This happened back in 2017. So I consider myself as one of those lucky guys, who happened to um, say study in the same city where I
Yeah.
was born and then land a job in the same city. So I was one such lucky guy who ended up in Zoho, and it all started with an sort of an off-campus drive where me and my buddy went just to hang out and have a shot at the interview, and then I got selected, and subsequently I landed in Zoho. And I started my job in Zoho as a IT support consultant, and then I slowly went into the consultation landscape, full blown, and went into the pre-sales side of things. And I have worked in the US and the European market before shifting my focus on the Australian market back in 2023. And I was doing consultation all along, and of late, like a couple of years back, I was given the full responsibility of handling all the solution architecture operations of the observability arm of Zoho in the ANZ landscape. And a typical day in my life is going to be a lot of fun, I would say. There's going to be a lot of meetings I attend to, and these meetings are essentially, I see them as platforms where we exchange ideas and we talk about real world challenges and problems that others have. And as a solutions consultant, my role in these meetings would be primarily to understand the complexity of challenges that the users have and try to provide a solution and recommendation to them based on the prior experience I have had. And this means I would be involved in a lot of meetings and conferences and engagements. And of course, every meeting is not only an opportunity for you to learn, it's also an opportunity where you have to for you to do a lot of homework, to do a lot of research, and learning about new stuff. So
Right.
is going to that's going to keep me occupied. Post the meetings, I do a lot of reading. I do a lot of chat GPT stuff these days. Previously I used to do a lot of googling and all those stuff to understand different technologies and architecture. So yeah, my typical day would be split between a lot of meetings and behind the scene works to prep for the subsequent meetings, or to understand better about something that we discussed earlier in the meeting. So that's typically how my day goes, and the kind of stuff that I do. Consultation operations. So I specifically deal with the observability side of things, which is a hot cake in today's world. I have been doing this for the last 8 years or so, and my conversations and my discussions and my learnings are all along these lines, where I talk about observability. I give suggestions on how to implement observability on a customer's ecosystem and stuff like that. So that's pretty much what I do on a daily basis. I can tell you there's going to be a lot of coffee and fun on any given day. So yeah, that's pretty much how my day is going to look like. And also, I do attend trade shows and events. BeerOps being one classic example. So I get to travel across cities: Perth, Brisbane, Melbourne, and Sydney. These are the four cities that I typically travel to, and my favorite being Sydney, of course. Yeah, so
You could start World War II with that one between Melbourne and Sydney, the coffee wars of 2025. Like
true.
you, I came from a sort of an IT help desk sort of background, and what I found over the decades is that that early time where I'm sort of doing tech support. Initially, I was doing it internally, and then I was doing it with customers. Is that actually by being on the front lines, as it were, for both our staff and then eventually our customers, I got to know almost every part of the business, every service, every product. And then as I moved through
Mm,
the organization, I had a much better appreciation for the types of things we were trying to deliver to customers. And I'm sure listening to what you're talking about there, that's clearly helped form like a really good foundational strength that you've carried through into this now very, very senior role as regional manager for pre-sales
mm,
for the whole of Australia and New Zealand.
mm,
Walk us through. So our audience is no stranger to Zoho as a brand, and certainly for Zoho Corp. We've all seen it come from an amazing and early sort of adoption of SaaS-based, cloud-based apps. I've personally been using it so long that I actually have a des@zoho.com email address, which people go, "Where did you get that for? Do you even work for them?" I'm like, no, I was just one of the like first couple of thousand users. But then, over time, you built some amazing products to the point now where I'm very much of the opinion you're one of the biggest application and SaaS suite offerers in the world, and even to the point where I think, and correct me if I'm wrong because I forget the exact title, but I think it was somebody in the role of sort of like an IT minister for India actually defaulted to adoption of Zoho for the entire government, which is phenomenal and it's so exciting. For folk who probably know the brand, but maybe are not as aware as they should be currently, give us a bit of a walkthrough in a couple of minutes of sort of the organization itself, the company, the types of product and service you offer, and the types of solutions and business challenges you help people solve with the entire Zoho suite.
sure, sure. Yeah, you're right. So there's been a lot of traction of late, especially of late, with regards to Zoho and the solutions that we offer. And it all started 20, 25 years back in 1996 when Zoho was launched in the name of Adventet. And back then, it was a very small company focusing on the IoT side of things and very small stuff. And then soon enough, in early 2000s, we came up with the division ManageEngine, and we started focusing on building softwares that a typical IT team would be requiring, things like network monitoring solution, network management solutions, and stuff like that. We were doing that, and when the cloud boom happened back in 2005, 2006, we came up with our SaaS offering, which is quite famous today in the name of Zoho. And today, if you look at Zoho Corporation's portfolio, it has over 200 applications. And
Wow.
we have essentially segmented those applications into different business verticals. The famous one being Zoho, which has the collection of tools that a company can use for from a productivity perspective or from an operations perspective. You would find tools like a HR management solution, a CRM solution, a desk ticketing solution. You'd find finance solutions and all those stuff within the Zoho side of business. And the manage engine side of business, it caters primarily to the needs of your IT departments. So as the company grows, as your business grows, soon you would hit a point where you would have to have a dedicated IT team. So when you are a small startup, you might have outsourced your IT, or you might have a single person doing all the IT crazy visit stuff. But when the business grows and when the organization grows, you would definitely hit a point where you would need uh, a small team of folks to take care of the IT. And this IT team would be requiring a bunch of tools to go about with their day-to-day task. If you take myself, who's a consultant, I actively use tools like CRM. I use tools like Zoho meetings. I used internal collaboration softwares and stuff like
Hmm.
that. Similarly, an IT consultant or an IT administrator would be using a different set of tools for their day-to-day operations, like patch management solutions, endpoint solutions, and internal ticketing solution, monitoring solution, and so on. ManageEngine side of things, ManageEngine side of business focuses on providing these tools that a typical IT person would be using for their day-to-day requirements. So to quickly summarize, the Zoho side of things, they provide tools for your business needs, softwares that you could use for growing your business, like your HR management solution, your payment payroll systems, and stuff like that. And ManageEngine, which is also a business vertical of Zoho Corporation, it provides the softwares that an IT team would be using for their IT management requirements or ITSM requirements, SIEM requirements, SOC requirements, and stuff like that. And on top of that, we also have other verticals as well. We have something called Zakia, which is into the POS machine side of things. We have a Zoho School of Learning, and there's a lot of other portfolios that we are venturing into. But the two critical ones are ManageEngine and Zoho.
Yeah, actually, ManageEngine is where I first came across the organization way back. I think it was like 6 or 8 months after it launched. And we were implementing essentially a global monitoring solution for an airline. And we spent months and months looking at some very expensive platforms. And it turned out that for a very low cost, with almost overnight implementation, ManageEngine was able to capture all of our logs and alerts and present them on the dashboard, and then integrate that into what became email to SMS back then. And the team, I think we did it in 2 or 3 nights. The team just came on site, showed us what we needed to do. They spent the time to teach us and train us, and then we literally just turned it on and just plugged into the log sources. And before we knew it, this thing was working. And it was like, wait, we don't even have to do trials. It's working. I remember just that experience with the company, the sort of the mix of technical and corporate culture of just, yeah, we can do that. It was like, this is fantastic. But I should also disclose very openly that I am a big fan of Zoho Mail, Calendar, and the web interface. I use Zoho Write more than any other application because I love the look and the feel and the simple word process capability, but also I love the fonts. So I think that's such a broad a range of things that you can now offer that I doubt there's any organization you couldn't help, from small to medium, whether it's startup or whatever, to large corporations. Now,
Absolutely.
we touched on your sponsorship of BeerOps. I want to just quickly touch on that. So, firstly, congratulations on the sponsorship of the 2025 season for the events, certainly Perth, Melbourne, and Sydney. Melbourne and Sydney coming up on October the 20th and 28th, respectively, for Melbourne and Sydney. You're a platinum sponsor. And on behalf of Stephen and the team, I just want to say thank you and congratulations for what you're doing supporting them, because without that type of support, these big tech networking conferences just aren't possible. BeerOps as an event has been going for over a decade. It is recognized now as Australia's largest tech networking conference. For Zoho, as you mentioned, you personally and professionally, and certainly the organization, do a lot of industry-related conferences. You do your own events. What does a tech networking conference like BeerOps offer to Zoho? I imagine, like in my case, I love catching up with people in 3D finally, rather than just seeing flat screens. After we're coming out of all the lockdowns, I like to meet birds of a feather. I love the inclusivity element. I mean, there's obviously the DEI inclusion there, but for me, it's like a lot around sort of, multiple age groups, old age brackets, roles, responsibilities. You've got people from graduates all the way CEOs and board level. You've got all the different industries. What are some of the things that sort of, from Zoho's point of view, and certainly your point of view, these types of events can offer that attract you to become a platinum sponsor?
Well, yeah, we have been first up. We have been doing this even for quite some time now. I think
Yep.
we started partnering with BeerOps back in 2020 or 2019. So this started even way before I started working in this market. And Stephen is a great guy. I have had the chance to catch up with him and have some good conversations over the last few years. And yes, you're right. So we do a lot of flagship events. Like we do our own flagship events, and we also take part in a lot of other third-party events as well. So in the grand scheme of things, BeerOps is very special for us from the perspective that it's not per se a lead gen event. It's more of an platform where you get to unwind yourself, you get to be
Yep.
yourself, and try to understand the market dynamics, right? So it's a platform for us where we get to freely interact with like-minded people, understand what kind of challenges they face, what is it that that they're really interested in, and what is their priority, which helps us in recalibrating our roadmaps as well as our thought process to ensure that we are in line with the expectations of the market. So and from an inclusivity perspective, yes, you're right. So the one thing that I personally loved about BeerOps is the inclusive nature of it, not just from the perspective of diversity and others, but also from the age group. So you get to meet students who are actively looking for new opportunities, or who are keen to share about what they're doing or what they're learning in their masters. And you have CTOs and CEOs who are happy to share their wisdom. So it's quite the powerful combo, I would say. And for me personally, the one thing that is outstanding for me, or rather a couple of things that's quite outstanding for me, is the format of the event. So the way in which the event is structured, if you look at it, it will never give you a feel as if you're going for a formal event. It's more of an unwinded hangout with your friends. You have a tough day at work, you have an exhausting day, you just come grab a cup of beer and then sit and have a chat, very good chat about what's happening in your life, and what's happening in the tech space, as a community. So that's one thing that I really love the most. And second thing for me is the network connection. So, Australia is a very small city,
Yep.
small place, and IT is one good way to catch up with a lot of new people, and BeerOps just exemplifies it. It gives me personally a lot of opportunities to make a lot of good connections, a lot of new friends. In fact, I can happily say I have met a lot of people in BeerOps who are still in touch with me, and every time I go to say Perth or Brisbane, they would want to hang out with me. And
Fantastic.
all of this happened. Yeah, all of this happened courtesy of BeerOps. So yeah, for me personally, BeerOps is an pretty good unwinding place where you get to freewheel, you get to be yourself, uh, and get a lot of new perspectives, understand market dynamics as well as opportunities out there in the market. And as a company, for us, it's helping us in recalibrating our thought process, and recalibrating our product plans and goals to make sure we are in line with the challenges that the Australian market is facing. And it also gives us a pretty good insight into what the expectations of folks from different background are.
I like that. Yeah, I love the way you've broken that out into, because there's kind of the two elements of that was, as you said, there's the networking elements, the ability to just sort of let your hair down and hang out with birds of a feather, but also I do like the fact that you just highlighted that this is a really good way for you to sort of have a thermometer or your finger on the pulse, as it were, of your actual target market, from new entrants to the job market all the way through to the senior executives, to get to know what are the problems they're facing, what sort of technical and business issues they're needing to solve, and then you can then take that back and then implement those or follow them up. That's fantastic insight. And for our audience, just before I ask you the next question about sort of how attendees can get the most from the events, for our audience, wherever you see this, whether it's on our YouTube channel, whether it's on social media posts, we will ensure that you have all the relevant links to the beerops.io website under events to go and register. And we recommend you do immediately. Register as soon as possible. If for some reason by the time you do see this, it actually says it's sold out, still register, because then you're on the mailing list and you got the latest information, people like Zoho Corp and so forth, and Akash, and all the other upcoming news and free things, whether it's ebooks and so forth. But it may be that someone drops out. Maybe they have a change of plans, or they have some issue, or they have a new holiday, and a space comes up. So then you can get straight into it if you're on the waiting list. So do register early. And wherever you see this video, we'll have links to not only the BeerOps website, but we'll also have details of how to learn more about Zoho, to their website, and links to Akash's LinkedIn professional profile and so forth. Akash, for the other side of the coin now, just briefly, you've done so many of these events, you've been in this industry for a long time. What sort of advice would you give, just very briefly, to attendees with regard to two things? One, just preparing for the event, and then two, on the night itself, to get the most out of the event, make good connections, have good conversations, but come along prepared, and make sure that they have had some questions, they've thought about it, maybe do a little bit of background on yourself and your professional career and your role in the company. What sort of advice do you give to attendees at all different levels of career path and different industries to get the most out of these types of events?
Yeah, I think one thing that I truly believe in is like to if you want to make the most out of a conversation, you have to do some homework and you have to come prepared. So from that standpoint, what I would suggest is like audience who would like to understand more about Zoho, or who would like to more understand more about say a specific software or a specific thing about Zoho. I would suggest them to check out our websites and LinkedIn pages, where they will find a lot of insights on into what we do and how long we have been in the business and the ways in which we could help. I mean, they don't have to sit and go over a lot, tons and tons of solution articles. Just eyeball it over to understand, what's the kind of company they want to deal with, and that should be enough, I guess. So once
Hmm.
they drop by our booth, we would be happy to engage and discuss with them. And yeah, to make the most out of the interaction, they can also check out our website as well, which has a lot of collaterals and articles on what we do in specific. And because personally, what I have noticed and what I have seen is, like, back in the mind, I would have thousand things to work on, but some of the things would be like, we would have a lot of pressing things at this point in time, that we would have forgotten something that's very critical. But only when we sit and revisit what we the sort of the mental checklist that we have, we'll be like, oh my god, yeah, I had this one, this is a priority for me, I totally forgot.
Right.
So checking out our website could be a good way for them to sort of refresh their memory on what are the priorities, or what are the key interesting stuff that they challenges that they have. And that should also help them in making the most out of the interactions that they are going to have with BeerOps in BeerOps.
Fantastic, great advice. And yeah, where, as I said, where people see this, we're going to have links to Zoho.com. We're going to have links to your professional profiles, and obviously links to BeerOps.io to register. I've spent a lot of time on Zoho's website over the years, but certainly over the last few days, I've refreshed my memory. And as you said, I'd like to just mirror that advice, and that is that the best way to stay up to date with what's happening as a lead up to the event, to get the best out of the time with folk like yourself and the rest of your team at the booths, whether it's in Melbourne and Sydney, but just in general, is to go to the website and bookmark it and make sure that you keep a track of all the new blogs, learn a bit about the team, the regional stuff. But there's also a whole bunch of information around some of the customer stories. There's some great resources there as well. But there's also
Mm.
stories about and information about some of the partners. And I think, you know, inside the resources, there's like, I think from memory, there's like a security solutions center, there's a development center, there's some really
Yep.
great blogs, there's some amazing blogs, including yourself. There's a newsletter that's well and truly worth jumping on board. And there's also something that I'm not going to give away the secret. It's called the long game. I highly recommend people spend 5-10 minutes over coffee checking that out. But then there's also a massive knowledge base where even if you're not currently using Zoho for some reason, there's a whole range of
Mm.
things there you can sort of learn about from the support base of similar types of challenges that people had that might be able to support you. And there's a concierge, which is also a great way to just have a conversation online to just get some assurance that these are the right things. But then on the other side is have a look in the partner section. There's a whole area around becoming a partner or working with a partner. And one of the things I really liked when I looked at the working with a partner element is the combination of looking at the what I would call business and technology challenges, but also then the industry segmentation. So that's again something that I highly recommend people having a look at, sort of, what's the best way to find a route into, getting some support from the Zoho ecosystem and even doing some trials and proof of concepts. I
Mm.
wonder, look, some fantastic insights, and I really appreciate your time. Akash, you've touched on a few of those, but to wrap us up, what's the best way for people just to generally keep on, a track of the website? We've sort of talked about visiting the website, the company, sorry, the brand. You've got so many amazing resources, be it the website, your social media profiles, your own professional LinkedIn profile. What's the best way for people just to keep across what's happening with Zoho Corp and all the offerings and news and updates that you generally, when you meet people and you're saying, look, do these things to keep up to date with what we're up to, and then reach out when you've got a business or technology challenge we can help you with. What sort of things do you recommend they do with regard to just keeping up to date with what's going on with Zoho Corp and certainly yourself professionally?
Mm. Well, just two simple things, just follow Zoho and ManageEngine on LinkedIn, and also hit me up in LinkedIn, because even if you miss out a post from Zoho, most likely I would be reposting it. And also, it's not just the Zoho's own post. We do churn out I do churn out a lot of
Hmm.
thought works on what's happening, what are the challenges that I come across in the industry, especially in the observability side of things, which is my bread and butter. So, if not our solution, the problems that others are facing might resonate with you and might give you some insight. So, yeah, LinkedIn is probably the best way to keep tabs on what's happening. And probably the other thing would be a Twitter, or X account. So do follow us on X as well. So these two would be the easiest way to keep in touch with what's happening within the Zoho ecosystem.
Fantastic. Well, Akash, it's been so great to see you. Thanks for making time to catch up with me. I've really appreciated you sharing with our audience, my audience, and certainly the BeerOps ecosystem of some 55 odd thousand people and the world at large. A little bit of background on yourself and your amazing role as regional manager for Presales for Australia and New Zealand at Zoho Corp. Looking forward to catching up at the events in person. And but in the meantime, safe travels, stay safe, and we'll look forward to seeing you in person on the 20th in Melbourne, on the 28th of October in Sydney. And we will definitely have you back on the show again post-event to continue the conversation. But in the meantime, thanks for your time. Really appreciate all the great insights into your role and the organization. And we certainly will be ensuring that everyone clicks on the links to go and learn more about Zoho Corp and some of the offerings and follow you on your professional profile. And make sure they do the homework to come and prepare with good questions to meet you on the night at the various events. Thanks for your time.
Cheers, Dix, and yeah, pleasure meeting you, and looking forward to catching up with you in person. Cheers.
Indeed. Thanks so much, Akash.